Thank you for joining us for the third annual Global Summit, Global Kidney Initiatives, Expanding Patient Choices and Outcomes, a collaborative partnership event presented by the American Association of Kidney Patients and the George Washington University School of Medicine and Health Sciences. My name is Kent Bressler, and I am an AAKP Board of Directors and AAKP Ambassador for the state of Texas. I have FSGS, and my brother blessed me with one of his kidneys 34 years ago. On my kidney journey and professional RN career, I have felt that access to kidney care innovations and patient care choice as a health consumer is essential to providing excellent care and patient satisfaction. Patients play a critical role in the U.S. and globally. Their presence creates demand for innovation and more choices for the patient consumer. The takeaway here is that patient lives are in the balance. Patient consumers need to raise their voices to create the demand for new diagnostics, devices, and biologics in their independent countries. That is accomplished through patient consortiums that support patients in countries where healthcare systems and/or infrastructure may not support patient consumer choice and/or access to care and treatments. Being part of AAKP allows me to participate and make a difference in the kidney patient community. AAKP provides excellent guidance and resources to address national and global kidney issues. Today, I am pleased to introduce a great friend and longtime ally of AAKP, Kathy Machuzak, the Director of Patient Advocacy at Travere Therapeutics. For our session on evolving sciences, clinical trials, best practices for inclusivity in rare genetic conditions that lead to kidney diseases, a successful global trial. Kathy, please go ahead with your presentation.
Thank you, AAKP, for this opportunity to talk about this important topic. My name is Kathy Machuzak, and I am the Director of Patient Advocacy for Nephrology at Travere Therapeutics. Travere Therapeutics is a small biotechnology company based in San Diego. We are exclusively focused on identifying, developing, and delivering life-changing therapies to people living with rare disease. Our organization is unique in that many of our employees come to work each day because we are rare disease patients, survivors, caregivers, or have in some way been touched by rare disease. In addition, we at Travere are ensuring that a focus on diversity and health disparities are built into everything that we do. I'd like to give you some background first on rare diseases, and in particular, rare kidney disease. There are 7,000 rare diseases that affect 1 in 10 Americans. 93% of these diseases have no specifically approved FDA treatments, and 50% are rare diseases that affect children. As I mentioned, I work in patient advocacy in nephrology, and one of these diseases is called FSGS, or focal segmental glomerular sclerosis, and the other is IgA nephropathy. African Americans are 13% of the US population, but account for 32% of kidney failure in the United States. Also, African Americans are 3 to 5 times more likely to develop kidney failure faster than Caucasians. FSGS disproportionately affects Blacks and African Americans. There are various causes for FSGS, and this disease can also affect both adult and pediatric populations. IgA nephropathy is a disease that disproportionately affects Asians, Pan-Pacific and Native Americans as compared to their Caucasian counterparts. It can affect both pediatric and adult populations. And in addition, Latinos and Hispanics have a high prevalence for FSGS and IgA nephropathy. Also, diversity is not only about race and ethnicity, but also about gender, age, lifestyle, location, and other factors. These all have to be taken into consideration when identifying and recruiting patients for clinical trials. At Travere, we have been working to bring awareness in rare disease and diversity in various ways. The patient voice is key to understanding the disease journey of rare kidney disease patients. At Travere, we've been working to ensure that patient voice and perspective is involved in all aspects of our company. Just go to our website and you can see that patients are front and center. In addition, we work with patient organizations like the AAKP, NephCure, IgA Nephropathy Foundation, and others who help kidney patients, as well as organizations who work with various patient populations like Black Health Matters to bring awareness about rare kidney disease, clinical trials, and resources to patients and their families. Recently, we conducted 3 advisory boards in 2020 on engaging diverse patients with rare kidney or chronic disease. Our advisors included patients, patient advocacy groups, nephrologists, national minority groups, multicultural consultants, and groups that work with the African American, Latino, Hispanic, and Asian communities. These insights are provided here. And to look at this slide, you'll see that there is a dark round circle with challenges and importance. These are the areas that are common of all 3 communities. And on the outer rims of this round circle, you can see the areas of intersection where 2 of the different organizations and communities intersect. So first, let's start with the similarities in challenges. The cost of care and low income are really affected by all these communities. There are, because of it, they have lack of healthcare coverage and they can't afford the tests or follow-up care. Taking off of work can be very difficult, and the African Americans cited job demands as an additional barrier. Latinos and Hispanics said that transportation and childcare were additional barriers, and that's why they couldn't take off work to go to see their PCP or doctor. And all populations have low income as well as essential workers. Stigma and fear of having a chronic disease was brought out by all 3 communities. It deters more Chinese and Latinx and Hispanics from proactively seeking care for a rare or chronic condition. And African Americans did not overtly talk about stigma, but note that they do not discuss the family business and thus feel isolated and not understood. When it comes to preventative care and PCPs, compared to whites, adults in these populations are less likely to have a PCP, and therefore proactively seeking preventative care isn't common. But let's now talk about the importance. And family came up as extremely important for all 3 communities. African Americans value the participation in family activities, but they may not venerate the family as overtly as Asians and Latinx or Hispanics. Asians cite family involvement is crucial, although there are generational differences that may affect knowledge and openness to clinical trials. The Latino Hispanics regard family and friends as the most trusted sources of information and support. Health literacy, they want to make sure that all materials are developed at the right level and with the right words. It's really pressing to make sure that instead of medical terms, things are talked about in more colloquial language. Also, the term clinical trial may not even be in the language or vernacular of many Asian languages. And similarly, the Latinos and Hispanics may not even be familiar with the term clinical trial. Cultural relevancy. All three groups expressed a preference for their doctors who look like them or sound like them. All groups would benefit from educational materials and outreach initiatives that were tailored and sensitive to their culture. They want trusted resources that reflect an understanding of their cultural preferences. Asian Americans valued the illustrations in materials and responded to outreach in native languages. And this is very similar to the Latino and Hispanic community. Dietary guidance. Food and food traditions are really important to all these cultures. There is an unmet need for nutritional guidance for all three groups. African Americans cited guidance as needed on optimal dietary approaches, including referrals to dietitians for rare kidney disease management. Latinos and Hispanics would benefit from Spanish language cookbooks and nutrition counseling. And they also want to have recipes adjusted from their traditional recipes to more kidney-friendly recipes. I just talked about the insights from the diversity advisory boards. As I said, it's really important to understand more about the insights of various different communities. Travere is also partnered with Black Health Matters and other diversity organizations to develop awareness and education about rare kidney disease, including clinical trials and resources both online and at virtual summits. Travere continues to work with our kidney advocacy groups, nephrologists, policy experts, and patients to bring awareness about issues in rare kidney disease, including patient challenges, empowering patients, and diversity in clinical trials. Recently, a roundtable was convened with leaders from Health and Human Services and Congress, hosted by NephCure Kidney International and Travere, in partnership with the American Association of Kidney Patients. This roundtable brought together government, industry, rare disease, and nephrology community leaders to discuss policy recommendations and upcoming novel therapies in rare nephrology. These recommendations will be informed by reports from the three work groups which convened last August and September. A white paper summarizing the roundtable discussion and final recommendations was released last October. Travere also is considered where our clinical trials are located to ensure that they're situated in areas near diverse patient populations. And finally, we have expanded diversity in our own patient advocacy team, as well as in many areas within Travere. Travere is committed not only to addressing diverse patient communities within our Travere work and imperatives, but also to make diversity a universal imperative in rare disease. Travere is a founding sponsor with Black Women's Health Imperative on a new rare disease diversity coalition that had its initial meeting last year. The RDDC brings together rare disease experts, patient organizations, health and diversity advocates, and industry leaders with a deep knowledge of the medical, industry, regulatory, and cultural challenges facing people of color with rare disease. The RDDC is poised to achieve action in the years to come by reducing racial disparities in the rare disease community, identifying and advocating for evidence-based solutions to alleviate the disproportionate burden of rare diseases on communities of color, and helping to achieve greater equality with the rare disease community. To tap into the collective experience and expertise of the various stakeholders, the RDDC initially convened work groups to study and discuss needed progress in 4 key areas for people of color living with rare disease. They are correcting delays in diagnosis and treatment, improving patient and provider education and engagement, improving the state of research and clinical trials, and advocating for government policy. This work continues in 2021 and beyond. Thank you for your time today to provide an update on where industry has worked with patients to ensure that their voice and perspective is valued and incorporated into everything that we do. We continuously seek to understand the diverse perspectives of rare patients to courageously forge new paths that can make a difference in their lives and provide hope for today and tomorrow. Thank you.
Kathy, we have some questions from our viewers. Travere Therapeutics' ongoing duplex study is the largest interventional study to date in FSGS. Can you share how the company's commitment to diversity, inclusivity, and patient engagement has helped lead to its current success?
Yes, thank you. So diversity includes many aspects: gender, ethnicity, age, where one lives, etc. And FSGS affects both pediatric and adult patients, male and female. It also affects African Americans at a high prevalence. So we wanted to make sure that we were having a diverse patient enrollment. We did this in a multi-channel approach. We worked with adult and pediatric nephrologists so that they can engage their patients. We also worked with groups like patient advocacy groups in order to bring more awareness about the clinical trials and what FSGS is. We also collaborated with organizations like Black Health Matters to bring awareness about kidney disease, FSGS, and the duplex trial to African Americans. And we were able to have healthcare at their healthcare summits, various presentations and resources available, as well as a social media campaign to bring more awareness about kidney disease and FSGS and the duplex trial. Now that the duplex trial is completely enrolled, we continue to bring awareness about FSGS and kidney disease to the African Americans by working with these groups and others like Black fraternities and sororities.
Kathy, to our last question. AAKP actively engages with industry partners on clinical trials, from the development of trial design, endpoints, identification of potential barriers to enrollment and/or retention of participants, to trial awareness campaigns to support enrollment. How valuable is it to you to have patients engaged in trial development?
It is extremely valuable to bring patients in at the beginning. Patient voice and their perspective is crucial to understand things like how many tests need to be done, what type of tests, especially when it comes to invasive tests like biopsies or even blood tests, the frequency, how many times that a patient has to go to a clinical trial site, what type of services may be available to them, such as home health care, telehealth, and even access to transportation. Also, the patient perspective is really important on study materials. Things like the informed consent, patient brochures, study guides, all of that needs to have the patient perspective to make sure that all this information is understandable, it's easily digestible, and is available for them so that they can have a really good conversation with their doctor to see if a clinical trial is right for them or not. These are just some of the activities that make it really important for a patient to help an industry to have a successful trial.
We appreciate Ms. Machuzak for taking the time to share her insights and her expertise. Thank you.